As everyone has probably seen, the rulebook has been leaked out into the vast internet, and we have a core rulebook for how 40K is going to be played. What we're still missing is indexes on what an army can look like, point values, etc., and the missions, how we're actually playing the game. I think I would have to say if you were to tell me that somebody just leaked this stuff from Games Workshop, I wouldn't believe it. And this is my personal opinion on this one. I think Games Workshop is fully aware of what they're doing right now and that this is kind of a marketing play. And I'm perfectly fine with it. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, they're doing this. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't upset me because what we're getting right now is Games Workshop is piecemealing and allowing us to see information that they want us to see when they want to see it. And by us seeing the rules now and looking at this and asking questions and curiosity and bringing up possibilities, we're giving them data. And that data is helping to improve the game. So by all means, Games Workshop, I really do right now, and I'm not just fanboying about this, I think Games Workshop is approaching this game well from both a competitive standpoint and a business standpoint, especially since they're really not charging us for the rules. So it's not like they're losing money by this going out any earlier. All they're doing is helping to educate their fan base on the new gaming system. Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation, and today we're going to roll some dice. Not this one, but we are going to roll some dice, and we're going to test out some of these new data sheets and see what we have here. If you're a veteran to 40K, this might be something cool to watch and just see how some of these guns are going to fare into my test subjects today. And if you're new to 40K, you'll hear some of the terminology and explanations of things as I break it down and slow it down on what the dice mean, why they mean this, what the gun functions as. So take a look. Hopefully this can help you figure out some of the stuff going on in 40K and what's going on in the future. And if you do like that, please click that bell for notifications and get notified on more videos. I'm going to be creating a lot of content here. It's about to be a content flood. It's a good time to be involved with 40K because you have a lot of free resources to be able to learn this game and kind of ask questions too. You know, the comment section is a great place for questions because when you ask a question there, they resonate with me. And then in another video, I may include them and include more of a comprehensive understanding of what we're looking at. Said in my last video how someone commented on the fact of heavy weapons and how I didn't count that in for the Annihilation Barge. I wasn't intending to because I like the mobility behind it, but I didn't say that. So that's something that I want to be able to tell you guys. So when you go, well, why is this, or someone did it this way, at least I can give you the reason why. All right, I think we talked enough about it. Now, as the title of this video says, we're going to get involved with some Terminators. I've always been a big fan of Terminators. I love the models. I love what they are. And I think they have a high fan base. People love Terminators. Tactical Dreadnought armor is really cool, but it dies a lot. And Games Workshop says, hey, we got this. Terminator is going to be tougher. Terminator is going to be able to survive. And I say, let's try it out. Let's roll some dice. We've seen some weapons. We know what squads kind of look like. We know what some stuff to see. So let's try it out. How do Terminators do against a couple of the guns and some of the units set up in this new millennium? For those of you who don't know, Terminators went from a T4 now to a T5. They still have a 2-up save, but now their invulnerable save on tactical Terminators is a 4-up. Again, the Toughness 5 might be able to shrug off some extra damage in there. They're 3 wounds as they got from last edition. And with the stratagem that allows them to deep strike in at the end of your opponent's movement phase, tactical Terminators could see a home in 10th edition. The question is, did they get tough enough versus the weapons that we're going to be seeing in 10th? All right, enough talk. Let's roll some dice. All right, so the first weapon that we're going to shoot into the Terminators is going to be the bolt rifle. Bolt rifle is a very common weapon. There's a lot of different variants of it: bolter, bolt gun, heavy bolt rifle, etc. The reason I chose the bolt rifle is because it's a very good example of how some of the new abilities stack to give us different loadouts in 10th edition. This weapon has both assault and heavy characteristic, which means that the assault side of things, if you advance, where you can advance but you're not allowed to shoot with a gun, these guns you can, and you shoot at your ballistic skill. So if you advance, make an advance move, you hit on 3s. If you move normally, you still hit on 3s. If you stand still and are stationary, Now the heavy kicks in and it checks, and because your unit sat still, you get +1 to hit, so you are now hitting on 2s. The bolt rifle also is a strength of 4, so going up against our toughness of 5, that is 1 in the advantage of the opponent, but it is not double, so it'll only require us to get 5s to wound. And it is AP 1, so the Terminator's 2-up save will be reduced to a 3-up save. So, with all that being said, we are going to shoot 3 5-man Marine squads, each one with all of them with bolt rifles. So it's going to be 15 guys shooting entirely at the end for a total of 30 shots. We are going to assume that this squad is staying stationary, so they're going to be hitting on 2s, because I also, with these bolt rifles, let's look at that and see. We've seen how, for the most part, we've seen what 3-ups do with bolters and stuff like that. Let's see how these 2s do for the squad. So, first squad is going to have 10 shots. Again, we will need 2s to hit because we're assuming the squad is sitting still and going to get +1 for heavy. All right, so we still got 2 1s in there because you can never not. Anyone knows that. It's a subtle inside joke. It's like whenever you need a 2, you're always going to roll some 1s. So these 6s are considered critical hits, but critical hits for the bolt rifle don't matter in this. And so all the other ones will hit. Now again, we are strength 4 going up against a toughness of 5. So we will need 5s to wound. All right, so we'll pull out all these misses over here. And what we have here is we have the 5 and 6, the 6 being a critical wound, which again doesn't mean anything with these weapons. But these 2 will wound. The 4 would traditionally wound against Terminators that in their old profile, toughness 4. But now with that 5, we're only looking at 2 wounds. So that's not too bad there. And now we have our 3-up save. And our Terminator is able to stick both of those. That's real nice. All right, so no wounds from the first squad. Now let's move over into our second one. So once again, 10 shots. We'll be hitting on 2s because we're staying still for heavy weapons. All right, so 3 misses. And one of these, like there we go, that one ends up being a hit because we are stationary, firing a heavy weapon. And now we will once again need 5s. All right, so 4 miss. Here is again another 4 that fails because of the increased toughness, and only 2 wounds again. So now we need 3 ups. Ooh, and he fails 1. So we got 1 Terminator taking a wound out of that, so we still got 2 remaining. We'll use this to mark it over here. And we'll go to our last squad. So our last 5-man is going to shoot. And ooh, they're angry. All of them hit. No 1s in there. They're wanting to do some damage. And now they need some 5s. All right. So we got Yahtzee. Start off with that. And we will fail with the 3. The 4 fails because of the increase to the toughness. So 3 wounds. And now we're looking for our 3-up save. Ooh, and we'll take 2 of them. So that's going to take down a Terminator. And then the 3 is saved because we are a 2-up save. This is an AP 1 weapon. So our 2 becomes a 3-up and it's still safe. So 2 go through and the Terminator drops. So at the end of that, and these, again, dice be fickle. Dice can be really, really fickle. This is a game of dice. So crazy things can happen. But in this scenario, after 3 5-man squad shot, all with strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage weapon, we lost only 1 Terminator. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'd say that's a valid good test. So let's move on to the next gun in this equation. All right, so we're going to go over into the realm of chaos. And what we're looking at is the Obliterators and their flesh metal guns. So basically, Chaos Obliterators are guys that can morph whatever weapon they feel is needed best for the scenario and situation. The way to show this is they have a couple different profiles for the guns, of which you can select before the game or before you shoot with this unit, so they're ever changing. For this scenario, we're going to look at the first 2 guns. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Focused Malice. So Focused Malice is a Melta 2, which means that at half range, you're going to get 2 additional damage to this gun. In this scenario, that's not really going to matter because the weapon is already 4 damage. So any failed saves is a dead Terminator. But at 12 inches, these guys could pack on 6 damage, and that's pretty nice. It is Bliss skill 3. And it's not heavy, so there's no boost there for sitting still. It is a strength 12, so the toughness 5 is not going to matter in this scenario, as it will be able to wound on 2s. And it has an AP 3, so we're going to look over at that 4-up invuln and see what happens there. All right, so let's get over and roll some dice on these guys. So first of all, these are, for the Focus Malice, it's D3 shots apiece. So we're going to assume that we have 3-man squads. Let's see how these guys do. All right, so the first one, we got 3 D3 shots. And for those who don't know, a D3 is you roll a single dice. A 1 or a 2 counts as a 1 or a 2 counts as a 1. A 3 or 4 counts as a 2. And a 5 or 6 counts as 3. So let's roll and take a look. All right. So we got 2 4s. So those are going to be 2 shots apiece. We got 1 5, and that's going to be 3 shots. So here we go. Add a couple extra dice to the pool. All right, so now we're going to be looking for 3s to hit the Terminators from the first squad. Not so good. Actually, not that bad. 4 hits. 4 hits. Could have been worse. And now, again, it's strength 12. We're at toughness 5, so we do double the Terminator's toughness and go further than it. So we're looking for 2s. And that's all 4. That's all 4. So now they are AP 3, which would drop the Terminators 2-up to a 5-up. But Terminators have a 4-up invulnerable save. So they're going to use that, which means that they can now save the dice on a 4-up. Invulnerable saves can never be modified or reduced in traditional manner. So once you hit a 4 with AP value, that's usually when you stop and that's where your save goes. So that's the way you can think of it with like invulns, is it's a stopping point for AP. That's where it stops. And 2 of which stop. Perfect odds. We're going to stop 2 of them. 2 are going to go through, but unfortunately, those are each 4 damage. Terminators have 3 wounds apiece, so this means that 2 Terminators are gone. So we're going to assume that this is like a 5-man squad, and we just lost 2 of them, so we have 3. 1 more guy, and we're going to have to test Battle Shock in the command phase. All right, on to the next squad. And this one, so that 2 is going to be 1 shot, because that's a 1 or 2 gets 1 shot. The 4, once again, will get you 2 shots. And the 6 will once again get 3 shots. All right, looking for 3s. 2 miss, so we got 4 hits, and looking for 2s. All right, so 2 1s in there, and so those fail. It's only 2 wounds, AP 3, so it's going to once again go to our 4-up invuln, and we will lose a guy and save 1. So now our 5-man squad has been dropped down to a 3-man squad, and now with this round of shooting is now down to a 2-man squad. And so that means that during our command phase, we're going to have to take a battle shock test for these guys. All right, last round. Let's see if they're even around. All right, so this is a pretty good one. This looks a lot like our first one. So we got 2, 2, and 3. Because again, the 3 is in the column counts as 2 when you roll it for a D3. All right, 3 up. I'm rooting for the Terminator, so I want to see these oblits miss. Oh no, they're not. They're not missing, and now they need 2s. All right, here's where they're gonna miss. Here's where they're gonna fail. Nope, that's all of them. So 6 4-up invulns. All right, Terminators, armor be true. Nope, we're going to save 3, and we're gonna fail 3. There was only 2 guys left, so these 2 will kill, and this one goes off into the void. And we lose the Terminators to the Focused Malice. But again, that was 9 Obliterators. And those who are new to the game, 9 Obliterators is expensive. Usually, that's a lot of points invested into them. So kudos to the Obliterators for being able to do it. It took them all 3. So it took 9 D3 shots of straight take out a Terminator gunfire to do the work. Not too much there. I'm gonna mull that one for a minute. Let's move over into the next round of firepower that the Obliterators can put out, which is the RuinousSalvo. Now this has blast, which means that you can increase the number of shots when there is larger units, which we'll talk about in another video. This one is not qualifying as it, so it's just going to be the standard D6 shots that this round has. It is a ballistic skill 3 as well, and is not heavy, so there won't be any boost over there. It is a strength of 8 versus our toughness of 5. Now, traditionally, in back when, the strength 8 versus a Terminator meant you were wounding on 2s because you would be exactly double. So this is an opportunity where now you're only wounding on 3s. So let's see how much that affects it. The weapon is an AP2, so regular save or invuln save, both of which are going to be a 4-up. So we're going to be getting a 4-up save against this, and it's 2 damage. So we're going to need 2 failed saves to take out 1 Terminator. Let's see how it does. Again, we got three shots going through. This is something that is not as uncommon as you would think, depending on what the damage output could be. If you go into a scenario like this and you're able to, having more shots means more damage in some way, shape, or form, you might reduce down the strength of the gun and take this in this scenario because you may actually be doing more damage to it. And let's see how this looks. So the previous guns, it required all 9 obliterators to take out the Terminators. Let's see if these guys can do better or significantly worse. So this gun has D6 shots apiece, first squad of 3 guys. All right, so these are just what the face value reads. So we got a 3, we got a 2, and we got that big old 6 over there giving us our shots. So now we still need the 3s that we discussed before. Take all these guys out of there, all the 1s and 2s. All right, so we didn't do too bad. So we got 6 hits. And once again, now we need 3s to wound because we are, the strength is 8, toughness is 5. So the strength is higher at the advantage of the shooter, but it is not double. So you then just get that +1 and need a 3 or better. And so the 1s and 2s miss. Again, that 2 would have been a wound in the previous edition because of the strength 8 versus T4, but we are T5 now. So we got 4 wounds. Again, AP2. So whether you want to call it an invuln or a regular save, it's a 4-up. And we will save 2 and fail 2. So the gun is a 2 damage weapon. So the Terminator takes the first one and takes 2 and goes down to 1. Then he takes the second one, which takes care of him, kills him, and the last point of damage is gone. It's wasted because that hit had to hit the wounded Terminator to finish him off. So that last shot is wasted. All right, 1 down, 4 to go, and we're on to the second Obliterator squad. And not any high numbers in there, but no 1s. So we'll go with it that way. So here's our number of shots. Once again, we're looking for 3s to hit. All right. So a good amount of hits, only one missed. And now, once again, we need 3s. Ooh, all of them. All right, so this is it for 4-ups. So again, this is a time the 3s did well. The volume of shots you were able to put out there, it really affected. Where the other version of the gun, the Focused Malice, was able to take a Terminator out 1 by 1 by 1. Here, with 1 shot, here, now we're already on the saves. Oop, this one's cocked, so we'll have to re-roll it. All right. So here, we're looking for 4s again. We'll stop 4 of them, and we're going to take 3. So, again, Terminator takes the hit, goes down to 1 wound because it's 2 damage. Terminator takes a second hit, takes the 2 damage, but kills him off, and the last one's wasted. And then another Terminator takes 2 damage, and that Terminator is going to have 1 wound remaining. So we have taken 2 Terminators out reliably so far. We've been able to take 1 Terminator out with a RuinousSalvo each round. So let's go to the last one. All right, D6 shots each. Ooh, here we go. So this is what every D6 shot gun player's dream is, when you get like double of the 6s. So this one may help tip the scale a little better since we're only down 2 Terminators and a wounded 1. We kind of need a lot of damage out of these guys to make it happen. So now we're getting 12 shots right off rip, and then the last guy is giving us another 2. So we got 14 shots hitting on 3s. pull out the losers and leave the winners. And now we're looking for threes. All right. So we lost 2 of them failed because of the toughness increase, but 4 in total. And now that 4 up save. All right. So we saved 3 of them, the 5 and the 4. So we'll get these out of here. And these ones are failed. So once again, the first one is going to finish off that Terminator. So we've lost 3 Terminators. And this one is going to take out a Terminator. So we lost 4 Terminators. And the last guy has 3 wounds on it. That might be crucial. That was a big hit, and it didn't clear them. So in this scenario, the D3 damage for the flat 4 and being able to one-shot a Terminator was definitely a lot stronger than the smaller arms fires, even though it was a lot more spray. Both shots were going into 4 up. It mattered. It mattered that that hit took him down in 1 shot. So the difference between a 2 damage weapon, a 3 damage weapon, in this case, a 4 damage weapon, was significant with dealing with the Terminators to be able to eliminate them with 9 obliterators shooting in. The toughness didn't really help. It was that 4-up invuln instead of it being a 5-up that helped keep them alive. Over into the RuinousSalvo, though, the toughness increase and the 4-up save, whether you want to call it invuln or regular or not, and the 2 damage, the 3rd wound that they have, was efficient enough to be able to slow that down. If 9 obliterators just fired into the Terminators and we're not able to remove them, well, now they're going to have to battle shock and take a battle shock test, yes, but they're not dead. And anyone who knows about marine apothecaries and stuff like that, I don't know how it's going to function now, but you might be able to put some Terminators back in that unit. So, and just having that one guy left alive could be crucial, could be very crucial that they were not fully eliminated. All right, so the last one is actually going to be a silly one. Because we did the extra round of fire off of the obliterators, we're going to do one that is a little silly, but just kind of explaining how this all works out. Not as much dice, but just roll with me on this one, pun intended. We're going to look at the Tau Railgun, one of the most devastating weapons in the game, at least in lore. At least in lore. Sometimes this thing has not been that great. So right now we're looking at a heavy, devastating wounds gun, which means that heavy, again, it gets +1 to hit if staying still. And devastating wounds means that if you roll a 6-2 wound, your wounds are then transferred into mortal wounds. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this gun, so we can see how this whole thing plays out. The gun is a 72-inch range, which means table. Over the table, you're getting close to a point where you're able to land shots at your buddy's table. It has a ballistic skill of 4+, strength of 20. So it's going to be wounding things all the way up to toughness 10. And is a AP of 5 with D6 plus 6 damage. And that's primarily where we're going to be looking at this. So we're going to assume that we have 3 hammerheads. And they're all firing a railgun, and for some reason this game, they're shooting at our 5 Terminator friends. So the first one, he's sitting still. So he's ballistic skill 4 up is going to mean he needs a 3 because he's going to get +1 to hit. So does he hit? Yes, he does. All right. So he's a strength 20, and we're a toughness 5. Again, you need a toughness 11 to get this thing to be wounding you on 3s. So now he's going to be wounding on 2s. And we get a wound. Now, we rolled a 3, so this is a standard wound, which means that the AP 5 kicks in. We have a 2-up save, which means that we would be way past the realm of a dice roll, looking at like 7+ to make the save normally. But we have our 4-up invuln. So again, once we get to that point, it stops, and that's as bad as we can get. So we have a 4-up invuln that can never be modified. So we need a 4-up save, and we fail it. So now, that is 1 hit, 1 shot. So it means only 1 Terminator is taking the damage, which the damage on this profile is D6 plus 6. So if the Terminator had feel no pain, which he does not, he would be looking at 10 damage to 1 guy. He's only a 3 wounder, so without the feel no pain, that 7 extra damage is in excess and gone. So it's 1 Terminator down. So legitimately, if we keep rolling this out, The best that a hammerhead technically could do is take out one by one by one. Here we go into the next one. He hits. That is a 6 to hit, so it's a critical hit, but that's not where we need that 6. So we roll the wound, looking for a 2, and there it is. There it is. We landed the 6. So what does this mean now? So this changes everything. How I said we did 10 wounds to the last Terminator, and it only needed 3 to kill it. So 7 were discarded. Now it's different. So first of all, this is devastating wounds. So all of the damage from this shot are transferred to mortals. What happens is, first of all, mortals, you do not get a save against. And since you don't get a save, that means you don't get your invuln either. These go right straight through to your damage characteristic. So let's see what this damage is, because it's D6 plus 6. Oh, let's keep it in the box. Oh, it's only a 1, so that's 7. That's going to be 7 damage. So what does that mean? So that's 7 mortal wounds. Now, like we said before, if that was a solid hit, that would be 1 Terminator would then take the 3 damage, and you'd have 4 remaining that would be discarded. Okay, so we lost 1 Terminator to the first hammerhead shot. Now the second one just did 7 mortal wounds. What happens with mortal wounds is the squad takes mortal wounds, not the individual guy. So while these 3 damage kill that 1 Terminator, meaning there's 2 gone, these 4 are not lost in this scenario, which means that the next Terminator is going to take 4 of these or 3 of these, and he dies, and there's still 1 more damage left, and that's going to go over onto the last Terminator. So the first hammerhead killed 1 Terminator. This hammerhead, because it rolled that 6 to wound, has now killed 2 more Terminators, meaning that we only have 2 left in our 5-man squad, and one of those 2 guys is already down to 2 damage. Not that it's going to matter much against the hammerhead, but it has damage on it regardless. All right, so we got the last of the hammerheads, and in good traditional Tau faction, he misses. What a champion. But now you see, let's step back over to that factor with that damage characteristic. We're going to roll a 6. That looks more like a 4 to me. So now we're again having 10 damage. That 10 damage versus a squad of 5 Terminators means you're losing 3 because of the mortal wounds. Again, it's 10 damage, so 3 to one guy, 3 to the next guy, 3 to the third guy, and the last one will take 1 damage. So you're going to lose 3 Terminators right away. He takes damage, and then you have a fresh one over here. That's what the Railgun can do off the devastating wounds if you hit the 6. And that's what devastating wounds can do, is be able to hit a squad. So if you have units that can get devastating wounds off of anti-infantry triggers, etc., because remember, anti-infantry counts it as a critical hit. Devastating wound asks for a critical hit. So if both scenarios can match, this is ways you can carry over that excess damage into squads of single wound models, or in this scenario, being able to punk a couple more Terminators out of it. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed getting to see how Terminators look going into this new edition and some of their toughness. They did really well against bolters, as they should. Obliterators picked them up pretty easily, as they should. And the Tau rail rifle drew a straight laser beam through a bunch of them and murdered more with 1 shot, as it should. So it was kind of cool to see some of that stuff, and I'm going to continue to do a couple other dice videos. If you guys have any suggestions of certain matchups you'd want to just see some dice rolled out in, let's do it. Hopefully you're able to learn something from some of this if you're a newer player or even a veteran. Always looking to learn more information, especially considering this is brand new and this is new for all of us. Guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and turn on that bell for notifications, and I'll talk to y'all again soon. Thanks for watching.